At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Northwest Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 479-203-5880, or visit our website at directservicenwa.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are having a good week so far. Good start to your week, rather. Yeah, welcome. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff. You know, the things that every YouTuber asked you to do. Like, share, subscribe. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. If you want to be here for all the content, we're doing something a little bit different. I had intended on going live at like 5 or 6. And we had some more developments and just some other stuff kind of going on today. So I thought, you know what? Let's do this as a call-in show. It's going to be a little bit later at night. I realize that people are probably not going to, a lot of you are not going to catch this until either late tonight or tomorrow, depending on kind of what your day looks like or what your next 24 hours look like. So please make sure you share the content. And if you have any questions or comments, fire away. What depressing info is about to be revealed? What up, Ty? Rob R., how you doing? Yeah, I'm using StreamYard, and I only use StreamYard to do one thing, to give you guys a link to call in. Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw that link in there. What we're discussing, Arkansas just lost a football commit. For anyone who's just waking up to this, maybe you don't read all, maybe you're not on social media. Jaden, and I think his last name is pronounced, it's spelled B-A-U-G-H. Jaden Boff or Baugh. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. 6'1", 215, athlete, kind of considered a could play either side of the ball. I think the belief was he was going to play running back. He did get a recent Alabama commit or offer. Excuse me. He did just get a recent Alabama offer, or at least so I was told. But again, this is a big time prospect out of Decatur, Georgia, part of the 2024 class. He's considered a top 20 athlete, top 50 player in the state of Georgia. There's also growing unrest about just what the hell is happening in the transfer portal. So that's why the thumbnail says time to panic, ? I'm asking you guys, is it time to panic? My own assessment, you'll hear me throughout the show kind of give you my thoughts on it. We've already got a couple people that are ready to call in. We've got Jeremy, who's already up and ready to go. What's going on, man?
What's up, Ty? How are you, brother?
Bro, I'm doing all right.
Good. Yeah, no, I was just listening to your show after the game on Saturday, and I completely agree with your, stance on Little Rock.
Uh-oh.
And just real quick before we get into it, there's nothing like, playing a home game and having to get up and travel and, get away from your familiar territory and go to a place you haven't played all year to, that's just the way I feel about it. I'm an Arkansas fan. I want what's best for the players, for the coaching staff, and playing where you're familiar as a home game, in my opinion, is it needs to stay in Fayetteville. Real quick, back to the question, is it time to panic? I don't know. I'm not panicking only because I think the expectation is still so low. So yes, I would say, to answer your question, I would say probably so. We finished 4-8, and you needed a lot of transfer portal help. You've had some decommits, and we go and get some players that could be good players, but they're not somebody that just makes you say yay or gives you excitement like Bobby Petrino did. We don't have a recruiting transfer portal player like that, in my opinion, yet. And a lot to be desired, in my opinion, and
yeah.
in a theory, I think Sam Pittman has a short leash. And I've commented on some of your posts on Facebook, and I mean, Sam Pittman starts the season 2-3, and I can't remember what his overall record is, but I think fans will probably want to pull the plug on that relatively soon. That's just my opinion. And you put Bobby Petrino as the interim head coach, and see what can happen from there. So that's just a little theory. I'm not saying it's going to happen or I'm predicting it, but I could see a world in which that does happen.
Yeah. Well, I find it interesting that I was listening to what's his name? The All SEC podcast on YouTube, Mike and Cousin Shane.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Cousin Shane.
Where they laughed at the idea that Sam, I think it was them. It was either them or Brandon Walker laughed at the idea that no matter what, Pittman's going to make it through the season next year. And I'm like, wait, what? I mean, you've seen the lineup. You've seen what they have to deal with in the schedule.
Right.
And fans were ready to pull the plug on Pittman before the Mizzou game.
Yes, I agree.
I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen next year. I'm not ready to give a prediction. It's way, way, way too early. We have someone hopping. Okay, Angel. Hey, man, try to hop back in here if you can. I'll try to get you on here, Angel. But, yeah, I don't know that I would laugh at the idea is all I'm saying, that Pittman, if things get off to a horrible start, he could absolutely be terminated before the end of the season.
And I think the expectation should be just that. I mean, in year 4, he goes 4-8. I mean, an embarrassing product at home. I won't get out of I can't erase out of my mind what I saw against Missouri on CBS, national television. At one point in the second half, they did a sky view of the stadium, and it was an absolute embarrassment. Yeah. An embarrassment. I mean, to sit here and say Sam Pittman has job security heading into year 5 after a 4-8 product, there's no way. Yeah. That cannot be the expectation at the University of Arkansas. I'm not saying it's national championship or bust, but I can dang sure tell you 4-8 is not the expectation. Dare I even say 6-6? I say 8 wins, in my opinion. If you can hover around 8 wins, maybe have a year where you get 9, 10, and 8's kind of the average. That's where we'd like to be. We're not asking for SEC West divisions, albeit they're not going to be there next year. We're not asking to raise banners. What I want from a Hog fan is for Liberty not to come to Fayetteville and beat our tail. It's for Missouri State, an FCS school, to come into Fayetteville and lead us in the fourth quarter. For BYU to not come to Fayetteville and beat us. That's all I want. I want to win the games. I want to be competitive in that. I want to be respectable. When I went down to the LSU game in September, I mean, I wanted people to, see that we're wearing Razorback red, and I wanted that to be a respectable logo. And after the game, people came up to me and said, Arkansas is one of, I don't know how true this was, but, we're one of their toughest matches every year, and they have nothing but respect. And, it made us feel good walking out of the stadium, but in the same sense, like to see what we did after that game and not be able to get a quality win. I know we won in Gainesville. It is what it is. But for Mississippi State to come to Fayetteville, beat you the way that they did, Auburn come to Fayetteville, beat you the way that they did, Missouri come to Fayetteville and beat you the way that they did. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, but all that to tie that back into Sam Pittman does have a short leash, and I don't think there's any way around it. I think he knows it. I think Yurachek knows it. And I think if you genuinely don't believe he has a short leash, if you're Brandon Walker just trying to, make some clickbait or whatever, I mean, you're foolish. That's just the end of it. So
Tercer says that Mike dude on that SEC YouTube channel has got to be a troll. Before the Petrino hire, dude said he saw 6 automatic wins on our schedule next year. And I don't know. I truly don't know what schedule he's looking at that guarantees 6 wins. I just don't. And I'm not saying that they don't get there, but you're going to Oklahoma State with I'm a man, I'm 40, Coach Gundy. The guy, he puts a good product out on the field every year. Every year. They're a good team. I don't know why that's not a guaranteed win.
No, it's not a guaranteed win. Mike Gundy, the way that they don't recruit relatively well, but he gets players on campus. I mean, I live in Oklahoma, so there was a lot of buzz after they got beat by South Alabama that, a lot of people were just going to, fold the 10 and give up on the season. I actually had a buddy. He actually went to the LSU game with me. He's an OU fan, and he had bought Bedlam tickets. And as we were walking out of the stadium, he was like, I'm going to sell my tickets because OSU's not going to be worth a darn this year. And they ended up beating OU. I mean, that's just the type of head coach Mike Gundy is. I mean, he recruits, I think, in the 30s or the 40s, and he always has a competitive product on the field.
Yeah.
And it's
well,
admirable.
that's just one opponent, right? Non-con. You still got Texas on November 16th. And then you have the rest of your SEC schedule where you're having to go to Auburn,
right.
College. You got to go to Arlington, not College Station, but Arlington to take on A&M. You come back home to play Tennessee and LSU. Then you're back on the road against Mississippi State, who it seems to not even matter who the hell coaches them. They can beat you. Ole Miss at home, and again, you got Texas at home. You got a lot of home games. It is more favorable. I'm not going to sit here and knock the schedule as like it's not anything like we had to deal with the last 3 years, but it's still a relatively tough schedule. I don't see, based on what we've seen, 10 wins the last 2 years, and you think you've got 6 on the schedule that are guaranteed?
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know about all that.
No, I agree, man. I totally agree. I mean, and as as far as looking forward to next season, like, and as crazy as it's going to sound, but if it wasn't for the Bobby Petrino hire, like, there would be, in my opinion,
oh gosh,
I mean, there would be nothing to look forward to. You just lost your quarterback. I mean, you haven't recruited. You're losing recruits. Your transfer portal recruiting has kind of been down. I mean, the only glimmer of hope, in my opinion, again, I'm probably a little more pessimistic than some people, but it is Bobby Petrino. And I agree with you. I'm not saying 2010, 2011, Bobby Petrino is going to walk through those doors, but I will tell you, the last time we were consistently relevant was when that man was in the doors. You won 10 games, you won 10 games, lost in the Sugar Bowl, turned around and won 11 games and beat Colin Klein and Kansas State. So the last time that we had respect around our name, in my opinion, was when he was here. And so if he can just bring some of that back, I mean, or I don't know. I mean, it's not as simple as 1 + 1 is 2, and I get that, but I mean, it kind of seems lost. Again, we'll see what we can do, and I mean, as much as I don't think we'll win 6 games, I'll probably be glued to the TV like I am every time.
Well, I think Razorback fans really are. I mean, I call them fickle because they are fickle. I think all fans are capable of being pretty fickle, but Razorback fans, I think because of the abuse, maybe the stuff they've had to deal with,
maybe so.
They're just they're getting a little fed up with it. So, hey, I appreciate your call, Jeremy. Thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir, Ty. Thank you.
Take it easy. If you guys want to call in, link is provided for you. I've left it. I've had a couple people text me and DM me over the last couple of days about, hey man, we need a call-in show. So there's your link in chat if you guys want to call in. So here's the situation. Here's the sitch, right? Arkansas's waiting on. So you just lost this 4-star composite athlete. Again, Jaden Baugh. Baugh. I don't know. We're going to call him Baugh. It's spelled B-A-U-G-H. Decatur, Georgia, who just decommitted. Right now, according to 247, his highest interest is Florida, and Alabama, I believe, just offered. So that's part of where some of this is coming from. And then you've got some interesting things coming up, right? Courtney Crutchfield is to decide tomorrow. You guys know about Crutchfield. This was a big time player out of Pine Bluff, top 50 player in the country, top 51. Decommitted from Arkansas, and now he's going to make his decision tomorrow. 6'2", 6'3", about $175, $180. And a lot of folks seem to think it's going to be Mizzou. If you lose another prospect to Missouri, guys, it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to say the least. Coach Willie, what's going on, man?
What up, man? What's going on, Ty?
What's up, man? Thanks for calling in.
Dude, first off, appreciate you watching me and old Blake over on 4-Star.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I commented and I said that the 13th best recruiting team in the conference and the 15th best team recruiting in the conference. The 13th best team is Missouri currently, right? Well, they beat us like a drum. All right. And the 15th best is Mississippi State. And I mean, heck, what did they put up, like 50 rushing yards on us?
Oh, did we lose him? Did we lose Coach Willie?
You there?
You there?
Yeah.
Okay. Say that again.
So I'm not super impressed with the portal up to this point.
Okay.
Man, I feel like, when you want to make a splash, you want to know that you have a receiver that you can, like, that's what we're missing. When Traylon graduated, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was an outlet for KJ to go to.
It was.
And we're bringing in a kid like Taylon Green, and I don't think it's a guarantee that he's your starter next year, obviously, right?
Yeah, I think there's truth to that. Yeah, I think Criswell, I said it last week, it's going to be competition. It's going to be
Absolutely.
competition.
Yeah,
Petrino's
absolutely.
not just going to bring him in and start him right out the gate.
Right. And so with him coming in, he's going to have someone that he can go to. I think Andrew Armstrong's a heck of a receiver. I don't think he's a Traylon Burks type by any means. So it'd be nice to, get a guy in here that you could rely on, you could go to in a clutch situation. But who's your running back next year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just no guarantee right now. And I know that poor Sam, I just don't see how he keeps his job next year. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
If he goes 6-6, are you still satisfied as a Razorback fan? You know what I mean?
You know what's going to happen, though?
What's that? Because
they have Petrino as an offensive coordinator, the odds are you would keep him for another year.
Yeah.
And Hunter Yurchek and the board of trustees will hang on to that and say, well, it takes a couple of years. And listen, there might be some truth to that. I don't know of any quarterback 1 year is and the offense just transforms. You remember his first year here, Arkansas barely beat some really bad teams,
right?
Really poor offensive production. It did take a couple of years. Of course, it mattered that Ryan Mallett was your guy the next year, but I that's going to be the excuse. And I'm of the belief that 6-6 he keeps his job.
Yeah, I think you're right. 6-6, I think he keeps his job. Although I don't see 6-6 happening. I think I realistically on a high note, I see 5-7. That's what I really see is 5-7.
Yeah.
And in worst case scenario, I'm thinking 3-9. Ooh. Which at one point this year, Ty, I think everybody thought, oh man, 3-9 might be for real.
Yeah.
To finish 4-8 was probably, best case scenario for us at the end. And that's sad to say, but it is what it is. But here's what's worrying me about the portal. I've been keeping up, and me and Blake have been keeping up with, all the different posts. And I think everybody's been saying, oh, hey, we got these official visits from these guys in the portal. These are guaranteed locks. They're going to come in, they're going to commit. And, how about this kid out of Georgia, right? Yeah. The linebacker out of Georgia, he was supposed to be he's going to be a for sure thing. Comes out today that he's not a for sure thing.
Nope, he's not.
I mean, I don't know. How much money are we throwing at these kids? How much money do we have to throw at these kids?
Here's my take on NIL. All right. There might be a level of truth to it that Arkansas is flat broke in the NIL or this edge thing is really not going the way they wanted it to, although it's early. A couple of teams, well, like a lot of teams kind of have an advantage because they did this sooner than Arkansas in terms of, a collective NIL that really hampers on fans. Here's what's crazy to me. If they were really that down and bad, if they were really that broke, how did they finish with back-to-back top 12 transfer classes?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah, so now my mind goes to, at this point, I don't think it's so much money as much as it is wins and losses are really starting to talk.
Yep.
And nobody wants to look at that. I mean, if you have, let's say $200,000 is on the table, all right, and you look at Arkansas, they're 4-8, and then $200,000 is on the table for Alabama. You may play, you may not play. You could definitely contend for a national championship. And then if you go to Alabama, you could transfer out the next year, and you know what you have attached to your name? You have the University of Alabama attached to your name. Yeah. I mean, are you more desirable with the name Arkansas attached to your name or Alabama? I mean, in my opinion, if I'm another school, I'm looking at Alabama.
Right. Well, to be fair, too, Missouri this year, they're a more credible name right now than Arkansas. They're on an upward trend.
And and then that's why I said what I said at the very beginning is you go look at the numbers right now. Mm-hmm. Missouri is 13th in recruiting in the SEC, and we're right behind them, and it ain't by much. Oh, in fact, I think we may have been ahead of them before we lost Jaden Ball today. And you know what? Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., Hog fans are going to be pissed off because I just don't see him committing to the Razorbacks.
Crutchfield, yeah,
out of Pine Bluff.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're gonna whiff on. I think they're gonna whiff on some more kids, and whether that's portal or whatever, this will keep them at 16. If I remember right, I think that's 16 commits. We'll see what they do. Maybe they don't take any more, and they're going to try and hit the portal harder. Dead period is upon us, so it's going to be a rough couple of weeks up until dead period ends, and then we'll see what they do in January. I appreciate your call, Coach.
I appreciate you.
I got some other people. Hey, I'll keep an eye on your show. Okay.
All right, brother. Appreciate you.
4-Star Sports. Thanks a lot, man. Buzzard 60. What's going on, man?
Hey, man. What's up, Ty? Hey, I just got 2 questions, man. Let's just be real. Should we put Pitman in the box where I feel he belongs because he knows nothing about the field? And should Slaughter definitely replace Hudson Clark?
To your first question, that's a very interesting take. The serious side of me says, of course not, but I know that you weren't. That's not a super serious question, but it is funny. The cynic in me says, keep him away from the field altogether. His game management has just been, the clock management, I should say, has been highly suspect. And I don't know, man. Someone keeps telling me that you look at all these close single-digit losses, all these close 1-point, 3-point losses. That's indicative of a coach that doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know if that's true or not, but I will certainly say, calling a timeout just to punt, and the timeouts and it's just been very bizarre from a coach. I don't care that you've only been a head coach for 4 years. You've been around the game of football for 30 plus years. So some of the decision making from him as a head coach has been bizarre. You can go back to hiring Enos. You got to have a better idea of what you have personnel wise and what this guy's capable of as a coordinator. Been a lot of very strange, odd decisions coming from the head coach, and he's made some good ones. I don't want to bash him too much. I think what he did on the defensive side of the ball was great. I really do. The hires have been awesome. Keeping Deke Adams for a second year, and it looks like they're going to hopefully hang on to him for a third year. And they can keep everybody intact. But my God, what is going on with the offensive line? Coach Kennedy, I don't think was ever we know now, hindsight being 2020, wasn't a great hire. He regressed. You go back to the Enos hire, and I'm not so sure about some of these other guys. I'm really not. Kenny Guyton, I don't know that he's done enough for me to convince me that he should still be the receivers coach going into next year. And then at the same time, how much of that is on him, but
right.
Yeah.
And he really didn't have a whole lot of time,
Say that again.
Second question was, should Slaughter replace Hudson Clark?
Hudson,
if we get Slaughter from Tennessee like we're supposed to.
Yeah, if they do. Clark, the last couple of years, has regressed, and it's really strange because there are times he's the most willing tackler, in the secondary. He's the most willing. He's willing to put his body on the line to go make plays. Of course, he had that big game against Mississippi State 3 years ago or whatever it was. It's just he's kind of he's a liability more times than he's not, and and it's kind of funny. You see it on the field. He's a willing tackler, but it doesn't mean he's always going to make the tackles. The guy missed so many tackles. And so I waited a little while until about halfway through the year, and I went back and looked at his PFF grade. His tackle grade dropped down to the 50s on their scale, which is horrible, which is not good for a defender to be down that low, especially a safety. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to – I don't know that – I don't know what they're going to do there in the secondary. There's going to be some movement, though. I will say that. There's going to be some changes. We're still waiting on Quincy McAdoo at corner. It'll be fascinating to kind of see how this all plays out. But, Yeah, Hudson definitely regressed. I liked him for a time. I thought fans were a little too hard on him, but this last year kind of did it for me. He needs to, I'm certain. I believe there's going to be change one way or another.
Well, I hope so for the fans' sake, anyway. But that's all I had, Ty. And you have a great night, man. And hope you have great holidays. And
You too,
bless
man.
yourself.
You too.
All right,
Thanks
buddy.
a lot. All right, we got Mr. Brimley. What's going on, man?
Man, it's getting dark for Arkansas, man. I tried to psych myself out with this whole Arkansas thing, right? You've been running with that. We got to go to the dark side, right?
Right.
But right now, the lights are being shut out on us right now. I mean, I'm looking at player after player after player after player going the opposite direction, bro. And a lot of fans are bugging out. Oh, the NIL. It's not the NIL, man. It's wins and losses. And then you got these other coaches from these other teams. You know what they're telling these players, right? Bro, you're going to a coach with a lame duck coach, bro. Yeah. They're going to suck next year. They're going to fire the coach. And then what you going to do?
Yeah.
Bro, every team is going to try to use every advantage possible, man. And they're going to get their advantage.
This is why bringing him on for a 5th year, I mean, say what you want. We'll give him a shot, right? I don't want to jump the gun and say they're going to be atrocious next year. I don't want to do that yet. But this is why bringing him back, it's going to have an impact. It's going to have a negative impact in recruiting. Who wants to go play at a school where the head coach may not even survive the next year? He may not even make it to week 8, week 7. Like, this is the issue. And like you mentioned, and I've talked about it, this is what's going to be used against the program. Now, I do believe NIL might play some kind of role in terms of, not being as high as we all wish that it was. I'm sure that I know Mike Irwin, it seems like he said for a while that NIL, he's kind of gone a little bit. He's been pretty consistent talking about NIL, but I still wonder if it was really truly that bad, then how in the hell did they have close to top 10 portal ranked classes the last couple of years? What, you're going to tell me that, oh, well, now we're broke, we're dead broke in NIL, and that's why what's happening is happening? No, I think it could be some of that, but I think it's mostly they're looking at the brand that is the Arkansas Razorback football program, and it's not great. It's not a seller. And also they're not putting bodies into the league in terms of guys coming in and out of the portal outside of Drew Sanders. They're not putting guys in and out of the league. This is not becoming an NFL factory, and you're not winning games. I think these things are starting to pile up, and this is the issue. Listen, I'm with all of you guys. I know someone's going to say, well, we love Sam Pitman. Of course we do. This feels so much like Mike Anderson. I wanted Mike to succeed here so bad. But it was like year 8 was too much. Hell, year 7 was too much. And I think we're right there with Pitman. We love you, big guy, but man, it's just not working.
You ain't getting the job done. This is about wins and losses at the end of the day. And all the things, the rumor mills and all the stuff where favoritism and some of those things that came about, I just think that you need to put the best product on the field and focus on who's the best players that's going to produce. And
I saw that I haven't watched it yet, where Pooh Paul's dad went on Woo Pig Pod. I haven't watched it yet, and I'm gonna have to catch it. I haven't had time to watch it. I know they also had Armstrong on their show. That's incredible.
And Bakke pulled up too. He pulled up. He was in the chat for a little bit. I'll tell you this much, Ty. I would say, it might just be rumors, players disgruntled. But when you see your best cover corner not in games when he's healthy.
What the hell was that? Why wasn't Dwight McLaughlin?
Nudie should have been in every single freaking game. Nudie was supposed to get 8-9 picks this year. I called it at the beginning of the year. I never understood that. It didn't make sense. It was nonsense to me. And that is a telltale sign that you're not putting your best product out there. For what reason? I don't know. I went when they brought in Petrino, I was like cautious optimism. Right now it's cautious pessimism. It's cautious pessimism.
Yeah.
I'm pessimistic right now, but I'm hoping that something can change. But I'm not feeling too happy. I said it at the end of the year. If you decide to keep saying we need to win out to have any momentum, that means we need to beat Missouri. We needed to beat Auburn. We needed those games to have some type of momentum. We finished the season with a whimper, and that's why I say I love KJ. But when you're keying with the Auburn team after you lose by 31 at home, I was all out at that point. I'm like, I'm out. I love you, KJ, but you don't have the same intensity and same care to win games anymore. So what are we doing here?
That always drives me crazy. That always drives me crazy. Even in the NFL, like it makes me so mad when you lose a game and you see the guys just laughing and having a good old time. Bro, it eats me up. These guys right here are just as guilty of it, and it pisses me off. It did when I was a kid. It still does to this day.
Is that your team?
Oh, yeah, bro. Oh, man. I mean, the Rams helmet, I've been a Ram fan since 95, bro. I was there.
I'm a Bears fan, I'm a Bears fan, so I don't have too much to cheer about either. But at least they try, at least they try. But I ain't got too much to cheer about. I get my joy from watching the Cowboys lose.
Better watch it now. We got some diehards in chat. Those Cowboys.
I love them. Tell them to bring it on. I tell them, how about them Cowboys? That's what I say about that. They had a big bill to pay this weekend. But listen, at the end of the day, Todd, man, we all want a successful team. We wanted them to win. But, we have to be honest here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything. It's not looking good. I'm up here with this dark Arkansas talk thing. We going into the dark side. We're going to do whatever it takes to take players. And it's just been nothing but dark since then. I feel like taking my profile pic down. That's how bad it's been looking. But I'll wait and see.
Yeah, it's not looking great, obviously. And I don't know what else to tell people. They're not Arkansas. Their odds of getting Crutchfield tomorrow, very slim. He's not going to recommit. I would be shocked if they get, but that's the kind of news they need. That's the kind of news you need, something to
get something momentum,
to bring the momentum. That's right. And you're right. I'm over the moon about Petrino in some ways. I know others aren't. I know people that worked under him and all that stuff and worked at the program. They hated the guy, but I get it. I don't want to dismiss those folks. But at the same time, it just felt like, rejuvenation, baby. Okay, now what? And here we are. And it's like,
what that was.
Jalen Green, I don't know what to expect.
You know what that was. That was a Hail Mary from midfield, from midfield. You know it, and I know it, and we all know it. Listen. I hope we can produce something offensively. Petrino has a great mind. He'll give the receivers opportunities, use them in ways they should have been used last year. So that we might be able to eke out a couple games that we might not supposed to win, but we might lose games we're supposed to win. So it's just right now we just sitting in limbo. We hurting right now, and we need a product that's going to make us proud and make us happy. I just don't know if we're going to get it.
I agree. They need something, and I do. As far as is it time to panic? I think it's not time to panic, but it's certainly time to do a little bit of inward thinking for people who are believe that this is going to be a complete 180 turnaround. Let's do a little inward thinking.
Ty, it's time to pan. And right now we're about to get the ick in. It's getting icky. So it might be time to we're panning around right now. So
chasing their tail. That's what it looks like. They're just kind of chasing their tail at the moment. And man alive,
where are the linebackers and offensive linemen? That's all I'm looking for, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Offensive linemen and linebackers.
I do like that Fernando Carmona out of
his grade is phenomenal. 83.6 PFF grade. So he's definitely a solid guy. What is he on? Be on the right side? He's a right guard.
Well, he's listed as a tackle out of PFF. Okay. But he's 6'5", 325, which in the SEC is a typical guard. But he could end up playing the right tackle spot. I've kind of been in the wait and see mode as far as what they do with him, because they'll tell you one thing and then they'll do something else entirely different in practice. Pitman has a reputation for that. I'm just going to say for the moment, I think he's going to end up at tackle, but I could also see him playing guard, because from what I understand, he's actually a short 6'5", so he's probably more like a tall.
What that mean? What's 6'4" and 8 inches? What?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
6'4",
right?
8th, 11th. Yeah,
How
but we
how
need
cold
two
was
more
it?
of him. We need two more of him on the offensive line,
Yeah.
and we need to get three solid linebackers. I mean, I understand Spence is solid. We got a couple guys, but we lost three linebackers that were getting playing time. So
Yeah.
we need to the re-beefing up the linebacking core, and we need to beef up the O line. If our O line is just decent, I think we can at least maybe get a 6-6 year if we have a decent O line. But. Time will tell all, but I don't want everybody, all us fellow Hog fans, don't panic, but don't pump the sunshine either. Just
That's it.
sit and wait, and let's see what happens, man. I just don't know right now. We're in limbo.
I agree.
I appreciate
Always, I appreciate you calling in as always, man.
you. Salute to you, champ.
Take it easy.
You too.
Always love it when that guy calls. All the people that have called, the calls have been. We don't get bad calls. He's in the upper echelon. Mr. Brimley is. He's like one of those upper echelon calls. If you guys want to get in here, listen. Some of you guys chat. You type, but you don't talk. You type, but you don't talk. Why don't you come talk to me? Come on down. Come talk to me. Hit that link. Give me a call. Tell me what you're thinking. Arkansas, of course. Crutchfield's going to decide tomorrow. I think it was, I don't know the exact time. Someone said it was like 9 a.m. Is that right? 9 or 10 a.m. That's don't know right now that I think he's probably going to end up either at LSU, because I know they kind of had a late push. I could see LSU getting in there with their reputation on offense. Now I know they've got some heavy change going on the offensive side of the ball, but let's not sit here and act like they haven't done a really good job on the offensive side of things. It could be Auburn. Could be Mizzou, but I would put Arkansas's chances at like 10%. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying that it's more improbable. Some other transfers to kind of keep an eye on. We're still waiting on Nichols out of Tennessee, Addison Nichols, who I'm pretty big on. I've kind of done a little bit of digging on him. Would be a fantastic get, I believe, out of the portal. Xavion Sorey, the linebacker from Georgia. Someone already mentioned earlier. We thought that was automatic. Was that Brimley that said that? Someone said that one of these calls. Sorry, I'm doing four things at once, but he was supposed to be automatic. That was the belief. He left, and he's all giddy on Arkansas, and now it sounds like the 6'3", 220-pound linebacker might be waiting a little bit. That's not good. That's rarely good, whether they travel here or not, whether they come on a visit or not. When you believe you're close to an announcement, and then you don't hear anything, and now we're hearing it could take a little while longer. He might go on some more visits, whatever. That's not ever good for Arkansas. That's never a good thing. And then of course, I believe Nealon Green is still available, another player out of Georgia. If you go 3 for 3 here, that's gonna help turn this thing around. Off-season momentum matters. We've talked about that for the last we've talked about that forever, but off-season momentum absolutely can carry over. Whether that's just with, whether you're talking recruiting, whether you're talking fan involvement and excitement. Listen, I fully believe this spring practice or spring ball, this is going to be one of the most fans are going to be really curious about what's going on the offensive side of the ball with Bobby Petrino back. The scrimmage, the red-white scrimmage, or whatever they decide to call it this year, I believe this is going to be one of the biggest we've had in a long time. I think people want to see this new quarterback and whatever changes they make on the offense. I know people are getting a little bit more excited about Isaiah Augusta. I'm not telling you there's nothing to be excited about for 2024. I'm just simply saying, like Brimley brought up and some others, there's not a lot of excitement moving forward, and now you're struggling in recruiting. You've whiffed on several players out of the transfer portal, and now you have another decommitment from the high school ranks. That's not great. So, Norrell White, who decommitted from Arkansas and committed to Ole Miss, he has now decommitted from Ole Miss. Braylon Russell decommitted, but he recommitted. So that was great, right? Now you have lost Jaden Boff. Kai Greer on the 4th. He decommitted, and now he's committed to Georgia Tech. You lost a recruit to Georgia Tech. I don't know what to tell you, but in my lifetime, I don't know that that's ever happened, or at least not in the modern era of recruiting. Do I recall Arkansas losing a commit? Now, to be fair, Georgia Tech's got a great player our great coach, great coordinator over there. And they also lost Gregory Ginross, a JUCO player who's expected to go to Mississippi State. So they've had a small handful. It's not like we've seen a mass exodus and commitments. That would be time to panic. That would truly be the time to panic. And again, the reason why that question is being brought up, why it's on the thumbnail, I know someone's going to come around and call it whatever. It's asking you guys, do you believe it's time to panic? Maybe you can convince me that it's time to panic. I'm not there yet, but it's, I could certainly see if they do lose somebody before early signing period, if they start to drop, if you start to see guys decommit, and you start whiffing on more of these players, for example, those 3 names that I brought up out of the portal, if you go 0 for 3 there or 1 for 3, there's just little excitement, and you need fans to be involved and to be excited. And you also just need some players. I mean, flat out, you need players. Link is in Discord, and it is in chat if you guys want to bring that up. Greg Davis says Pitman is going to have to dig into D3 and NAIA bucket. It's bad. Oof. Ooh. I don't know what to make of overall like a grade for this transfer class so far, because I don't think it's that bad. I'm excited about Fernando Carmona. I'm excited about Slaughter. I am excited about him. Maybe he comes. Maybe he's still committed, right? He committed from Tennessee. Taylon Green. I'm excited about Taylon Green. Andreas Paskey, this Eastern Michigan kid who's more of a blocker. Now, from what I understand, they're going to target another tight end. They're going to look for another receiving tight end, which is interesting. I mean, you have Haz, you have Ty Washington, and you have Shamar Easter, and now you've got this Paskey kid out of the portal who I know is more of a run blocker. Why are you going after another receiving tight end? How many tight ends does Petrino put on the field now? Is he running 2 tight end sets more? Like what? Hold on. Because I don't recall seeing that many 2 tight end sets at A&M. What I did watch after he resigned or was rehired at Arkansas, talking about Bobby Petrino. So I don't know why they feel the need, if that's true, that they are going after another pass catching tight end. Why do you feel like you need one? I mean, yeah, these 2 guys, 2 of those 3 that I just mentioned were hurt. Shamar Easter, of course, was redshirted. And I also like Keyshawn Blackstock, by the way, the kid out of Michigan State. They also picked up a punter, Matthew Shipley from Hawaii. Just to be consistent here, 6 total players out of the transfer portal so far for Arkansas. We don't need tight ends. So Steve Brimley. Yeah, I don't know why they're going after another receiving tight end. If anything, that either says that they're expecting one of those guys, maybe 2 of those guys, to hit the portal. I hope that's not what's happening. I hope that's not a sign of things to come, because that's a little bit concerning. I don't know that they need another tight end if that's the case. If you want to make the argument for another blocking tight end, okay, that's different. But I'm not really sure. Nah, it's 7. I mean, I just looked at it. It literally said 6. If you're talking about the portal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Keyshawn Blackstock, Paskey, Taylon Green, Slaughter, Carmona, and Shipley. That's 6. I don't know if you're talking to me, but yeah, I think Fernando Carmona, a quality get. I still feel like he ends up playing interior, but he could end up at tackle. I like Slaughter. There's some nice pieces here. We need 3 linebackers, 4 O-linemen. Yeah, their linebacker has got to be the freaking key here moving forward. It's got to be key. Sanford and Brad Spence and Carson Dean, that's really about who you have left over. Everyone else is and then Thomas, right? Thomas is still eligible for another year. In fact, he was a redshirt junior. So you've got Thomas, but I still feel like, those names I just mentioned are all freshmen. You need to go out into the portal and grab some guys that are upperclassmen. Maybe they have some playing time experience, or they're former big-time prospects out of high school. They just didn't get their opportunity at a school like Georgia. Maybe you can pick up, I'm not saying you're going to go get another Drew Sanders, but maybe someone close to that level is out there. I don't know that you want to rely on a whole bunch of true freshmen from a year ago to make up the majority of your linebacker depth. And that's what they're looking at. I mean, again, Sanford Spence, Carson Dean, those are freshmen. Manny Powell, gone, right? Jordan Crook, gone. Christopher Pupal, gone. Linebackers is concerning. Thank God in some ways for the portal, but at the same time, it's the portal that puts you in this position to begin with. Had it not been here, these guys would have to stick around another year. Varkey's Gums. Yeah, we forgot about Gums, didn't we? Yeah, Varkey's Gums. That's another guy. They don't need another. You were talking about tight ends, maybe? Is that what someone was talking about? Yeah, Varkey's Gums. I agree. So there's no need to go out and get another receiving tight end. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Go out, if you feel the need, go get another blocking tight end, sure. But offensive linemen and linebackers have got to be key. All right, I'm going to keep sending this link out. No one else has come in here. The lines are completely open. So if anyone wants to join, we've had some good calls. 3-4 good calls tonight. When I saw Gums last year, he looked like a running back out there, too small. He is small. I said that when I saw him at practice. I said he does not look what they have him listed at, like 6'4", 6'3". I thought he looked like 6'2". I mean, I just didn't think he looked that tall. He didn't look that big. He looked like a running back. I agree with that. But that dude's got some moves. If you kind of feel bad for the guy, because if you think about it, well, any of those guys on the offensive side of the ball, but someone like Gums, my God, you already kind of came in late. And then you got Dan Enos as a coordinator. Guyton was the interim coordinator. And now you've got Petrino. 3 coordinators in under a season. Well, I mean, under a season and an off season moving forward. That's a lot in just a single year. Your first year at your new school, and you've got 3 different guys that are going to be calling the plays. Good luck and God bless. Let's see. Harding with their 6,000 rushing yards. Sam needs to watch some of their film. Maybe there's some truth in that. Maybe they should just figure out how to run the ball, how to be more effective. Of course, it starts up front. It certainly helps if you got a better offensive line, that's for sure. KJ to TCU. Big difference between Harding and the SEC. Well, of course. I mean, that's obviously a joke, but if you it feels like they need to figure something out with the run game, because last year it didn't matter who was calling the plays. They were bad. Now it got better. Kenny Guyton, you felt like, oh, okay, they put an emphasis on running the ball and they showed that they can do it, but they could never do it consistently. I'm saying you get any kind of help where you could find it. So yeah, go watch some Harding film. Just maybe learn you a thing or two. But fortunately, Petrino's the guy that's calling the offense. That's the good news. Harding might stomp a mud hole in us. You may not be wrong. I mean, that is a big difference in terms of, that's a massive talent gap. But sometimes you just have the right product on the field, right? They can't get O-linemen, so they're getting blocking tight ends. They can beef up, says Boss Hog. I mean, I guess, but I don't know what their game plan is moving forward. I mean, right now, again, they're waiting on Nichols, and there's some other names out there that have been tossed around. Now, from the JUCO ranks, I know they're in on a defensive lineman, Kamari Copeland. Now, I haven't gotten an update on him. I think he's like 6'4", 290. And there was another name, a couple more defensive backs out of the JUCO ranks. High school, they're waiting on, of course, swear to mention Courtney Crutchfield, who's going to make the announcement tomorrow. Again, I'd give Arkansas about a 10 to maybe 15% chance, assuming Bob Petrino's maybe been on the phone with him. Now you've got dead period. So, and then they're waiting on the kid out of Hoover, Bradley Shaw. I think they're still waiting on. They're waiting on him. He's out of the 2024 class. I don't know his numbers off the top of my head, but so they're still waiting on some names. January is going to be such a big month for Razorback football. It's going to be a big, big month because your timeline is shrinking. You've still got high school, whatever you're going to decide to do in the high school ranks. Your final signing period, I think, is still the first week of February or the tail end of the first week of February, something like that. So January is going to be get your shit together month. All right. From here on out, we're not going to know anything with dead period here. And that means no contact. That's what dead period is. No contact. As far as I believe it's no phone calls, no in-person visits, and no text messaging from coaches or assistants or whatever, coordinators, whatever. No one from the university can have any kind of contact with that player, I believe, is the actual rule. So in dead period, correct me if I'm wrong, it started today, and then it goes until like almost it goes like January 10th or 11th. And I think there's some exceptions in there. I'm not entirely sure. And then you have early signing period, which this year, I think it's only 2 days, which is so odd because they have these massive transfer portal openings multiple times a year. But then the first signing period, remember when they first did this in December, you got like 7 days or whatever. I think now it's December 20th through the 22nd. I don't know what the hell they're doing with the early signing period. I don't know if that's an athletic director initiative or head coaches that want to shrink that down. I don't know, because then you still have your final signing period, which is in February. So we're going to shrink that, but we're going to open up the transfer portal window. Need to close that son of a bitch. I'm just going to say it right now. They need to close that damn transfer portal. I'm not saying it doesn't need to exist at all, but I'm saying it needs to be shrunk significantly, like a week. You get a week, like the after the final signing period in February, you've got 7 days, and that is it, man. You're with that team from that time on until until the following February. That's what that window should be. I don't know why they have these portal windows so wide open like they do. It is just catastrophic to some of these programs. Ty, it's so refreshing to hear your straight takes, unlike U of A hype media machine. Listen, there are a ton of Arkansas podcasts. We've had what, 3 or 4 different podcasters come through here when I do these call-in shows. They're popping up everywhere. And I'm not the only one that talks like this. I can tell you that right now. I'm not the only one. There's some good shows out there. But I do appreciate those guys coming through. I try to give them shout outs. Greg, I'm pretty down to Ty and Woo Pig for hog content, straight no chaser. Yeah, Woo Pig does good stuff. They had Christopher Poopal's dad on. I need to go catch that. I wish I'd been there for that. I would love to have sat in on that. I would love to ask his dad some questions if Woo Pig would allow me to come on there. Ty and Woo Pig are my go-to. I appreciate that. Listen, Trey Biddy does good work. I have nothing against any of those guys. The big, you know what I mean? The established media types. The Trey Biddy and who's the other one? The other, you got so many of the established media, Whole Hog Sports. Now they're getting in on YouTube. I think they all do good work. They really do. I have nothing bad to say about any of them. Trust me. If I did, you would know. You would know. But I don't. I don't have anything against any of those guys. The only 2 pod in Arkansas I rock with. Hey, I appreciate you, Woo Pig. Thanks, man. Ty, Woo Pig, and Biddy. Media all commercialized bullshit. And they can't swear either like I can, even though YouTube doesn't like it. And suggested videos are nowhere to be found anymore. You have to literally either find me or you have to be subscribed to me. If you look up anything Razorback related, you will not see my name at the top, despite me having more views than some of those others or more interactions. I think it's the swearing thing. I really do. I really think it's the swearing thing. And I'm told, hey, you might calm it down. I'm like, nah. Oh, well. John Neighbors needs to chill on the crazy face thumbnails. He's got game, though. John Neighbors has got game. He's got game. But I do love the... He does a good job, though. I have nothing against him. He's good. Ties at the top for me. I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you. I'm going to start doing my thumbnails like that. I'm going to start doing... I'm going to start doing that. He's not the only one to do that. So many people do that. That's just listen, that's the click stuff. That's the stuff that gets clicks. It really is. I just use the flat white background and I crop out the player's background and I slap it on there. That's all I got. I'm not good. Go look at Don't Read the Comments podcast. Look at their thumbnails. Travis Ford does their thumbnails. Shout out to the sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, and I was going to do that later, but he is the owner of Direct Service Overhead. Does a great job. His thumbnails blow mine away. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I don't care about clickability. I don't care about any of that shit. Whatever. I do my work right here with this microphone. You and I having a conversation. That's where my skill is. The gift of gab. I'm not an artist. You know, I'm not my own producer. I'm not very good at all that shit. I'm here to talk. That's my job. You better not. I better not what? You not do the you know. Oh shit. No disrespect to John. He does a good job, man. He does. He's a part of a big network, and he's down in Little Rock. He's still on the Buzz, right? Is he still on the Buzz? He does a good job. I got all the love in the world for all these other creators. All right. Well, I think I don't know what else. Again, I'll share that link one more time if anybody wants to come in. One last call. If anybody wants to come on in, there's your shot. There's your shot. Arkansas football right now. It's not time to panic, like I said, but it is time to do a little bit of inward thinking. A lot of people, I'm seeing it on Twitter. Not as many as the negatives, right? But seeing a lot of people who are just like, yeah, no, we'll be fine. No, we're all right. We're okay. We got Bobby Petrino. We've got the greatest offensive coordinator of all time. We're fine. Maybe they have a point. He's a great offensive mind. But you kind of have to have personnel. Quality personnel. I don't care how good of a coordinator you are. When you're in the SEC, it's just not – this isn't the Big 12. This is not the ACC where you can get by. We talked about Oklahoma State. We talked about their recruiting. Guys, they're lucky to sign a top 40 class, and yet they're expected to be top 3 in that conference every year. Do you think that passes here? Hell no. Hell no, it doesn't work. No. You've got to have a combination of great coaching staffs, great players, and high-quality players in high-quality depth. Because quality depth, what does it do? What is quality depth? It matters. Over in the Big 12, whatever, you know. For the longest time, they didn't know how to play defense. They've gotten a little bit better at that. By the way, I am not of the mind that Texas is going to come in here and suck. I'm not. I don't believe that at all. I think Texas is going to come, and I'm not just saying that because they're in the playoffs. I think Texas is they're in good shape. I think they're built very similar to your typical SEC team. We got Nick. What's going on, man?
Hey, dude.
What's up, bro?
Dude, it has been a long freaking day.
Yeah. Can I tell people who you are?
Let's just leave it at Nick for now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, dude. No, sorry. No. Sorry, I had to sneak away
You're good.
Put my wife's getting my kids to bed. Just consider me a frustrated Razorback fan right now. Mostly because I mean, you know me. We've had many conversations about the athletic program as a whole, and I feel like I didn't realize my camera's on. Hey, and I feel like it's cold outside. I feel like people don't realize that the football program is not on the same level as the basketball and baseball program, and hasn't been in my lifetime. And I'm in my mid-40s. But everybody thinks it is. Everybody wants it to be there. If you want it to be there, I'll tell you what, demand more from the program. Quit selling out the stadium for a 6-6 mediocre team. I mean, we're an all-time 6-6, 7-5 team as far as football goes. Yet, all it took was, we have a 4-8 year. All it took was them to hire Bobby Petrino, and next year, y'all's butts are going to be in the seats just because Bobby freaking Petrino was there. This is where we're at, y'all. Like, either demand more or accept where we're at. That's all I'm saying. And because I'm getting roasted on Twitter for saying the same things. And I'm sorry, dude. I texted you earlier today because I'm fired up about this crap.
Yeah.
Oh crap, my logo's showing. Hey, anyway, like, I'm just frustrated, bro. Like, this is. I love the Razorbacks. I love watching football. I also love watching basketball and baseball. We're a lot better of a basketball and baseball program than we are a football program. Always have been, probably always will be, because of in-state, a lot of things, which I can't really dive into tonight. But, dude, I'm just frustrated. Tell me something good.
Well, someone brought up the comment in chat that we're acting like Bobby Petrino is just useless, and they're saying that we're acting like. Well, here, I'll just put the comment on the screen. They're acting like Bobby Petrino is just useless or something. Nobody's saying that. What Nick is saying
Not useless.
is that
he's just an asshole. Not sorry.
What Nick is saying is that is enough. All of a sudden, our fans are just completely bought back in. That's what Nick is saying. That's all it took. And I think he's got a point.
Yeah.
That is absolutely, I think he's spot on with that. Now, unless that was targeted at me when I said earlier that, Petrino.
Oh, no, sir.
I was responding to Logan. If that was targeted at me, Logan, I was saying that it's not enough if you don't have the right personnel. That's all I'm saying. I don't know, and I've been pretty vocal about the transfers. I don't know that any of those guys it could have just been the system they were in. I don't know. I was not blown away by what we saw. But again, it's not like KJ had a lot of time to throw the ball. There was certainly a lot of issues up front on the line of scrimmage. But I didn't see a lot of separation when he was given time. I'm not super bought into the transfers at the moment.
Okay. To be fair, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. To be fair, if you go from, and I wasn't a huge Bryles fan, but if you go from Bryles where you're putting out, there's a lot of output where these guys are in college, they're and at this level, they probably have aspirations of going to the NFL, right? So this is an audition for the NFL in the SEC. If it's not, then why are we in the SEC? Beyond that, so they have all this output with Bryles, which, like I said, his play calling was atrocious, but whatever. And then you go from that to Enos, which that's a whole nother conversation. Again, altogether, I could go on for a long time. You know me. So why wouldn't they be frustrated? Why would they stick around? Even if it is Bobby Petrino, this dude right now at this point is not in the peak of his career. The guy's like 60. He's he's angered every fan base, not fan base, but every place he's ever worked. And I know this from firsthand. I've been there. I saw it when he was at Arkansas the first time. I was there. He angered people to where they took lateral jobs to get away from the university, to get away from this dude. Yeah. Oh my God. He won. We had double-digit win seasons when he was here. 6 in my lifetime. 6 double-digit wins in my lifetime. And this dude is responsible for 2 of them. I hope that he has a great offense. He's going to turn away players. And I have no doubt in my mind that's part of the reason why some of these players are leaving. Because they've probably heard from their friends at A&M or Southwest Missouri, whatever the F ever. Sorry, I don't like that school. So it's a whole deep thing. It's stupid. But man, and we're not the program people think we are. we are not the destination that people think we are. There's a reason why we are excited over a high 3-star or a low 4-star. There's a reason. And who else gets excited about that in the SEC? Missouri?
No.
Like Vanderbilt? Who else gets excited about that? Nobody. Not the schools that most of the fans that I talk to think that we are in football. Now, basketball, baseball, it's a whole nother story altogether. That's completely different. But in football, in my lifetime, not just in my lifetime, but we are sub 500 in the SEC since '92 when we joined. We're a 6-6, 7-5 team all time, and we've only had 6 double-digit wins. We're not expecting the best from football. If the fans want the best from football, they're not going to sell out the stadium. If you genuinely want the best from football, don't sell out the stadium for a 6-6, 7-5 program. I'm fine with it. Honestly, me personally, I'm fine with it. I just enjoy watching football, and I enjoy my Razorbacks. I enjoy seeing that red out there smashing some heads around. Excuse me, being physical defensively. I like that identity has to be there. That smash mouth football has to be there, whether we're a high flying offense or not. It has that smash mouth in your face. Like we're a wild band of Razorback Hogs. That has to be there in football. That's where we got our freaking nickname from.
Right.
I don't know. I'm fired up, dude. I'm sorry. I'm just.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I hear you. I think a lot of fans feel that way.
Sorry, I'm out in my little shed out back.
You're fine. You're fine. Yeah, I think a lot of fans feel that way. A lot of fans are pretty upset and concerned about, going back to 2012 and on, the last decade plus, it's been a lot of sub 500 football, and it showed. The product on the field has absolutely shown that. I do think if there's anybody who can fix what's going on in the offense, I do think it's Petrino. However, I also agree that that will be enough. Like I said earlier, this will probably be one of the most attended spring games, red-white scrimmages we've had, and the U of A is going to use that all day long as something to push on social media. Like, oh look, 45,000 people showed up, and that's going to happen.
And you know who is going to get the big head again, like he did the first time, because everybody showed up for him, and it's how it was the first time. Sorry, I was on campus when this crap was going on. Like, that's how he acts, dude. Like, I don't know. Sorry, I'm in a very precarious or in a very strange position with this, because I'm maybe going back and working back on campus again, doing what I was doing before, and it just so happens it can coincide with. So it's and it's all about football. Like that's where the university makes its money. So as long as the stadium is sold out and they're making money from the SEC and there are butts in the seats, they don't care about. They genuinely do not care about the fan experience. They don't care about any of that stuff. Man. If you don't agree with how where the program's going as far as football goes, if you don't agree with that, then make your presence known by not being present. Like I don't know. I hate to even call on that, because but if there are people that are out there that are so adamant that Arkansas is just this elite program and we're in the SEC and blah blah blah. Yeah, we're in the SEC. Yes, we are. Do we belong here? Probably not. Not at least in my lifetime. And there again, that's 40 plus years, dude. Like you go back further than that, and yeah, we probably, we're dominant. But you're also looking at, that's a lot of time, man. Like none of these kids were alive when we were in the Southwest Conference and we were actually, challenging for conference championships and stuff like that. When's the last? I mean, with Houston Nutt, we technically challenged for a conference championship, but 3 times.
Yeah,
and that was, even that was 15 or 20 years ago.
It's been a while.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. And I get, back to back 2 and 10 years. I get that. And we just had a 4 and 8 year. And all it took was hiring Bobby Petrino to bring everybody back. And now I guarantee you there'll be tickets will be sold out. Why? Because they think it's going to be this massive high flying offense. Well, let me let you know, the first couple of years he was here, when he didn't have the players, when he wasn't the beneficiary of having the best Arkansas class of all time, when he wasn't the beneficiary of having that, what was he doing here at Arkansas? Not at A&M, not at wherever he was before. Here at Arkansas, it wasn't great. It was like 5 and 7, 4 and 8. It wasn't that great. And that's just off the top of my head. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it wasn't great, y'all.
Right.
And we're not in for another Ryan Mallett year. We're not in for another banner year, y'all. We're looking.
You're not big on Taylon Green. You don't think Taylon Green comes in and has an immediate impact?
Okay. Yes. Here's the thing. They're going to be immediate impacts, and they're going to, within transfer and whatnot. Well, we lost a lot, dude. We lost the most prolific and statistically the best quarterback we've ever had on campus. We just lost him. Okay. Are we going to replace that like for like? Not bloody likely. I'm just, that. And then who else is gone? Rocket's gone. Help me here. Who else is gone? There's
AJ Green. Yeah. AJ Green hit the portal.
AJ Green.
Yeah. And he's there is a possibility Green could come back. Apparently he's not had any great offers. I don't know.
And what does that say for us? One of our best players has no offers from anywhere else. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't need to put down on a kid, and I don't think he's untalented. I just think that it's frustrating for me that a lot of fans, and I direct this at fans because we're the ones that pay the salaries of the coaches. We're the ones that pay the salaries of the groundskeepers, the audio engineers, all that stuff that's going on. We're the ones that pay those salaries, right? And the football team makes the majority of the money for the entire program, and this is well known. Like, everybody knows this, but and I'm not calling for anybody to be fired or any of this crap. I'm just saying we either need to fix it by showing the fact that we're not going to put our butts in that stadium anymore, or we're not going to watch or whatever anymore, which is not going to happen. But or we need to accept where we are and maybe figure out another way, as far as fans to support the program, because it hasn't changed in 50 years, man. Like, this is not brand new information. This program, like I said, is a 6-6, 7-5 program all time, and we're losing in the SEC. We're on par with Ole Miss. We're on par. Actually, we're below Missouri as far as pretty much all stats go. I know they haven't been in as long as we have, but we haven't been as long as Ole Miss has. We're not the upper tier program that everybody thinks we are as far as football goes, and I'm trying to be very specific about that.
Right.
We're not on that level, man.
Well, I think a lot of people here, at least in this chat, I don't think most of this audience, I don't think they believe that Arkansas is a 10-2, 11-1 kind of crowd,
Fair enough. I did just jump in, and I'm not. I'm just y'all in the chat. I can't see it currently, but
you don't want to read.
I'm not aiming this at anybody in the chat. I promise you, bro. Like, I don't even want to see it because I'm probably getting roasted right now. But
listen, Nick is a good guy. All right, Nick is my boy.
I'm just frustrated right now, y'all.
I'm frustrated. To be fair, this is the most common. I mean, when people see me out at Walmart or wherever, this is what I hear. The same thing. Fans are sick and tired of it. They're tired of being. They don't believe that. Hey, Why are we at Vanderbilt level? We should be at least up there with Mississippi.
We should be.
And
because
I
of the
agree.
money. Because of the money alone. I mean, so NIL, all NIL really did, this, knowing this, seeing it from another angle than a lot of people do.
Yeah.
All NIL did was shine a light on what was already freaking happening, y'all.
Oh,
Like
100%.
there were you want to talk about $100 handshakes, dude. I've talked to specific players, and I will not name them, but I've talked to specific players about $100 handshake. Like, does that really happen? Yeah. Okay. Well, you're like a 2-star center back, center back, cornerback. Why in the world are you getting $100 handshakes? I'm thinking this. I didn't say this, but it happens, dude, all the time, and it always has. Yeah. But now it's legal. Now it's like, oh well, we're and it's like, oh well, we suck at NIL. Yeah, NIL is not the problem. NIL for Arkansas is not the problem. The money is there. Maybe the distribution is a little not quite there yet. But
I hope it can be there. I'm not of the belief that it is all NIL. I really do think I do think it's players see that this is kind of the Titanic. And I do agree with that. I also I am of the mindset that if there's anybody who can turn this around, I do think Petrino offensively, my God, he's got to be a lot better than Dan Enos, right? I mean,
dude, the guy, okay, I will give him this 1,000%. The guy is an offensive genius, but his route, the routes that he creates, the mismatches and the things that he sees on that level is, you're talking like upper echelon. I mean, I didn't see that last year. And granted, well, he didn't have his guys, blah blah blah, this and that. Right. He didn't have his own tournament. I don't care about any of that. This guy is that good. Like, he can see beyond that. But he didn't last year, and he didn't at Missouri State or no. God dang it.
Well, yeah, he was at Missouri State the year before.
It was okay. Yeah. I don't know why my brain just went to Southwest Missouri State. I'm like, I don't know. The guy is very, 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 very good at offense. Period. He's not good with managing players one-on-one. He's not good with a lot of other things that you need to be good at Arkansas because of what we get and what we have to do to be successful at Arkansas. You have to be, and for lack of a better term, you have to be a Houston Nut. You have to be a players coach. You got to motivate. And he's not a motivator. He's a motivator by fire and brimstone. And I don't know that they're going to respond to that. My guess this year, ceiling 7-5. It will prolong Pitman's career at one more year. Unfortunately, I think at Arkansas, you need a long-term coach. You need a guy to figure out the system, to figure out our state, because every other state around us has better youth programs. Every other state around us has better recruiting. Every other state around us has a bigger population to pull from. Arkansas is its own little thing, man. Especially as far as football goes. You got to figure it out. And nobody is going to be. I mean, how long did it take Nick Saban to just be dominant? It was like 3 or 4 years at least before. I mean, he went six. He went like 5-7, and then like 6-6. Like his first few, even freaking Nick Saban at Alabama had several years. But we're not going to give anybody any kind of.
He lost to Louisiana Monroe his first year too.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you calling in, Nick. I got another call in.
All right, brother.
I appreciate you calling in.
Absolutely. Anytime, man.
I'll talk to you later. All right. See you, brother.
All right, bye.
All right. Brad Caldwell, what's going on, man?
I got to make sure that I've got you. Oh, man. I want to make sure that I'm not echoing here. So, I mean,
You're fine on my end.
yeah. Sorry. Arkansas is a prisoner of bad coaching, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right. Yeah.
I mean, really, that's not just bad coaching, but bad coaching decisions over well, you could actually go back to 1941 when supposedly Bear Bryant was on his way, and that wasn't a bad decision. That was bad luck. But Arkansas is they're just not in a position right now to get good players because the program is trending downward. If Arkansas had fired Sam Pittman, I believe that we could have brought a new coach in, and even at 4-8, we could have created new momentum that we had not had before or do not have now. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
I just feel like that the momentum that we have lost because and look, I like Sam. I think he's a good guy, and I think that he did some good things. I also think that Traylon Burks propped him up quite a bit. I think he propped KJ up quite a bit. I mean, that 9-4 year is everything that we're basing everything on. If Sam doesn't go 9-4 in 2021, we don't have him anymore, most likely. And so I just feel like that we're probably wasting a year. Now, if I was actually just having a conversation with somebody about this whole team, right? And everybody that's going to contribute in on the team is pretty much there now, right? I mean, you're not really pulling anybody in the transfer portal other than maybe a couple of the offensive linemen that are really going to help you much. They really aren't landing anybody. They aren't on anybody that I know of that you can just sit here and say, oh, man, you're going to be able to hand them the ball, and they're going to be able to really make a difference. So right now, who is in the room is who is going to carry the ball, hand the ball off. I mean, the green kid from Boise State, he might be our starting quarterback, and that may make all the difference in the world. Petrino, when we talked about Petrino in the last call, one of the things that Petrino will do for this team, the team was so bad offensively that he will make a massive difference on the offensive side of the ball. Then you hope that T-Will make a difference like he had on the defensive side of the ball again this next year. And you may have something that does go into maybe a possible 7-5 season, something like that. Then you probably go into the next year trying to maybe get a little bit of momentum. Right now, the program lacks momentum. And until they can figure out a way to grab that momentum, they're never they're not going to be anything more than what we are right now, which is, right now we are basically right above Vandy, which is sad. I know that, when Houston Nutt was here, when Bobby was here, you could count on those wins such as Mississippi State. You could count on those wins against Ole Miss. You could count on those wins. You can't count on those type of wins anymore. And because of that, that's why you're seeing the results that you're seeing. We'll never be able to count on the wins against Alabama, the wins against LSU. Sure, we'll be able to pull one every once in a while, but you'll never be able to look at the schedule and say, yep, we're going to beat LSU. Yep, we're going to beat Texas A&M. And until we're able to get back to the point where we should be beating Missouri, maybe not every year, but I mean, program-wise, history-wise, Arkansas is a 7 out of 10, should be a 7 out of 10 beating Missouri. But right now, we're getting our butts kicked every year by them, and that's not good. When you're losing to Mississippi State, when you're losing to Missouri, Ole Miss, that sort of thing, this is why the record are what they are.
Yeah, I agree. I'm hearing a lot, and this is either from chat, people calling in, also radio shows as well. I listen to the Morning Rush. I listen to Ty Richardson. I don't listen to a whole lot of afternoon sports radio. I'll just leave it at that. But a lot of talk It sounds to me like folks want Arkansas out of the SEC because of kind of the things that you just said, the things that you laid out. Nick kind of laid it out too. And I've had other calls that have gone that way. I've had a lot of conversations that have gone that way. The more I hear people talk like this, it's like, well, this is never going to recover. So if that's the case, does Arkansas belong here? Does Arkansas belong in the SEC? Because it sounds to me like what people are really saying is, as long as we play this schedule, and as long as you play the teams that you mentioned, which I know it's going to get switched up now that you don't have Alabama every year. There is no guarantee every year outside of Mizzou, maybe Texas. But still, you're going to have, it doesn't matter. You pick any one of the 16 teams, they're going to be tough outside of Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Hell, right now, I don't know that Vanderbilt would be a guaranteed win, at least not this last season. So, what I hear when people say the things that you're saying, and I'm not saying you're saying this, but what I think I'm hearing is that Arkansas doesn't belong in the SEC, or they're not going to see any more success as long as they play these teams. So what do you think? Does Arkansas belong here?
That's a tough question. So the Big 12, as it was configured with Texas A&M, Missouri, Texas, Oklahoma, that Big 12 was probably configured more for the Razorbacks than right now. Of course, we were in the SEC. We were having success. Let's not say that Arkansas can't have success in the SEC. From 1998 to 2011, which is Houston Nutt to Bobby Petrino, or through Bobby Petrino, Arkansas was 109-65 overall. They were, what was the record? They were above 500 in the SEC. And that was, the coaching change between Houston Nutt and Petrino was a little bit rough, as far as the first couple seasons. And then he kind of got it going. And, I believe he was, 34-17 overall. And I think he finished just above 500 in the SEC. But those first two seasons pulled his record down a little bit. But to say that Arkansas can't be successful in the SEC is not true. Again, it goes back to coaching. Look at the past, since Bobby Petrino, John L. Smith, complete train wreck. I mean, complete train wreck. Yeah. Brett Bielema, terrible fit at Arkansas. Absolutely horrible fit at Arkansas. And has basically shown that he can't really be the type of guy that everybody thought he was without Barry Alvarez there. He leaves Wisconsin. Wisconsin continues to have the success that they've had year after year after year for several years without Brett Bielema. They, in fact, improved in some aspects and had better years. And then Chad Morris, we know, abject disaster, didn't make it through 2 years. And then, we go to Sam Pitman. Sam has never even had, he's never had head coaching experience. And, excuse me, I've been fighting a cold. And then we have, we could have possibly gotten Lane Kiffin and in that process. Now, the question is about that is, did Lane Kiffin just play us to get a raise and he was going to Ole Miss the whole time? Or was it a possibility that Arkansas could have gotten Kiffin? If it was a true possibility that Arkansas got a kid or could have gotten Kiffin, we missed it. We made the wrong hire. There were guys in 2013 that probably would have definitely done better than what Brett Bielema had done. You go back to 2017 when we hired Chad Morris. There were guys that we could have hired that would have done better. We are literal prisoners to making the wrong choice of coach every single time. I mean, if it was one time, it would be one thing, but it's literally every single time that we make the wrong decision, and that is what puts the program back as far as it does.
Do you think that might have something to do with Arkansas not being a destination program anymore?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. It's hard to say one way or the other because, again, we've made such terrible coaching hires. What could Arkansas be if they had hired Mike Norvell in 2017?
Oh, gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know people that have said that Mike Norvell basically told him to kick rocks because he wanted to be able to come back to the state of Arkansas. His wife is from Arkansas. I have a coach friend that told me that. A guy that knows him personally said that they looked at him and they offered him the job and he said no because he wanted to be able to come back and not basically get exiled from the state after what might happen. Who knows if that's true or not? But I mean, the guy that told me that, I don't think he'd have any reason to lie about that. You hire Morris in that stead. There were probably other guys that I'm not even thinking about right now that could have stepped in and done better. So who knows what Arkansas is when you hire such crappy coaches?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and again, Sam Pitman is a great dude. Okay. He's a great guy. I appreciate everything that he's done. But when you hire a guy that is just, he doesn't have the experience. It showed last year. I mean, without Barry Odom on the sideline, he kind of fell apart in some areas. And I mean, areas that, I mean, if you watch enough football, you should be able to know about calling timeouts and different things of that nature. The LSU situation where we're sitting there and the game is tied and they're just driving down the field on us and you're just letting them go. You're basically letting them run the clock down. I mean, do something different, make something happen, let them score, pick them up and pull them into the end zone. Do something other than let them run the clock down and kick a game-winning field goal from 15 yards. Yeah. I mean, there were all kinds of things that could have been done in that situation. And it showed with Sam that the decision-making just wasn't quite there.
Yeah, I think you're right. A lot of close games too. Very questionable decision-making from the head coach. We know that and he's owned up to it. He gets the call when it comes to these third and fourth and goal and what they're doing before half. He gets that call and he's owned up to it. I'll give him that. And I agree too with everyone else. I don't know anyone who says a bad thing about the guy personally.
Right.
I mean, everyone wants him to be successful. Everyone wants him to win. I always say here, this is such a Mike Anderson situation all over again. Very similar too, ironically enough. Mike Anderson, who was an assistant here under Nolan. Sam was a former assistant here under old Bert. Very odd, although Anderson was here a lot longer. But and it's not just because of that. He is generally a nice guy. But it's time that we stop saying that. And like someone like Steve Brindley mentioned earlier, this is a business. All right. Yeah. I'm an entrepreneur. I know you're an entrepreneur. This is about business. And eventually that you have to make the most logical decision when it comes to these coaching hires and when it comes to what you do with Sam moving forward. He's not safe throughout the rest of next year. He's not. I cannot believe Mike said that on SEC Mike on his podcast. That to me was just stunning. Like, what are you talking about? If they're looking at 1-5 or 2-6 or whatever halfway through the year, he's not going to survive to Mizzou. No. I can tell you that right now.
Not with Petrino on the sideline either.
Yeah.
I mean, the hope that you have to have this next year is that Petrino comes in and those decisions that need to be made, he lets Petrino make those decisions.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of him as a coach, is his decisiveness, is his ability to break the game down and to be able to say, we need to do this now. That's what is the beauty of him. So I believe, maybe I'm wrong, that Pitman allows him to be somewhat of an associate head coach along with his offensive coordinator role. At least if he's smart, he will. And he'll lean on Petrino in many, many ways. Let Petrino call the plays, which I believe he'll do that 100%, and lean on him in these in-game decisions. And I mean, it could work out well. But again, it is about Jimmy's and Joe's at the end of the day. And, what does Arkansas have that you can say, man, that they can really lean on, this guy's going to be first team all SEC, or, this guy's going to be second team all SEC. Right now, you don't have that. Now, I'm not saying that somebody can't step up, and I'm not saying that Petrino can't make an offensive guy better. We know that T. Will has done some good things on defense. I'm not saying there aren't guys in the room that can be better. The whole locker room situation can get better, and the team can lift up. But I think if Arkansas hits 7-5 next year, it's a miracle. I mean, that's just the bottom line. It's a miracle.
It's kind of crazy to say that too, isn't it? Year 5, and we're talking about 7 wins being something that almost feels like it's damn near out of reach. Brad, do you want to tell people what you do and where they can find you?
Sure, man. I appreciate it. I run the Arkansas Sports Network. Right, basically, we're Facebook heavy, and you can come over. We do a lot of high school stuff, do some Razorback stuff, but mainly a lot of high school stuff. In fact, this Thursday night, we'll be at Benton, where Benton and Whitehall taking on each other. Jay Sean Hayes and the other kid from Benton. What's his name? Night brain right now.
I know who you're talking
Terry
about.
On Burgess.
Yes.
So those two kids fight. They're top 50 players in the nation for the 25 class. We'll have them live at Benton on Thursday night. Looking forward to being there. And we just go around the state doing a lot of high school sports. We just gave away some awards, do stuff like that. I mean, do state tournaments. You know, we go to a random state tournament, you know, in basketball, football, we do playoffs, stuff like that. And I don't know, man, we just keep growing, keep doing stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Y'all are killing it. Y'all are doing a good job, man.
We're trying, man. We're trying. I appreciate it. Appreciate you. Let's just make sure that Kyle doesn't know. Okay.
I appreciate you coming on, man.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.
Take it easy. We got Donovan up next.
How's it going, Ty?
What's going on?
Oh, not much.
Look like you're about to play some Modern Warfare.
First-person shooters stress me out now. Back in the day, maybe, but now they stress me out.
Bro, all I gotta say is SOCOM 2. All right,
that was the game, man.
Third-person tactical shooter online. Oh my god, dude! These kids today couldn't handle it.
Yeah, that was before Halo. Like that's back when it was prime, like PlayStation 2 dial-up stuff right there. That was a good
great.
time.
I had to buy an expansion, extra kit for my PlayStation 2 just so I could play online. I'll never forget that. What do you got for me, man?
Sure. No, I think the problem with this season, and the thing is I think a lot of people lose focus on how close some of those games were, especially at the very beginning of the season.
That's true. That's fair.
Like BYU, that shouldn't have happened. I mean, they were a good team, but I don't think they were that good to beat us at home. But some of the other losses, you know, the important games like LSU. LSU is the one that sticks out to me. Like that's the Heisman winner was the quarterback in that game.
Yeah.
And we kept it within 3 points. And I know scores don't matter, you know, that's the moral victory, but still, that's something to take into account. Like a lot of those, and after you lose multiple close games like that, you let go of the rope.
Yeah.
And I think it all comes down to, I mean, Sam Pitman, I mean, yeah, I don't think he's a game time coach. I don't think he's necessarily a very good coach, but I do think he's a good motivator. And I think a lot of those kids do respond to him. Obviously, or they wouldn't be coming back. A lot of the kids that had a really rough season, especially with the offensive line, came back. And that says a lot about Sam Pitman right there.
So far.
Yeah. Right. But still, like, I mean, a lot of the offensive line, though, like I was surprised seeing a lot of them announcing that they were coming back. I didn't expect that. I expected most of them to hit the road, except Sua. But I just think they told him he didn't have a chance really of playing, honestly.
Yeah. And by the way, he's a good kid. I liked him a lot. I kind of expected that to happen. And I agree. I think they probably did kind of, you know, politely show him the door. If I hate to say it that way. He's a good kid, though. And I'm going to root for him.
Same. I mean, Arizona State's lucky to have him. I think.
Oh, what a place for him to end up to.
Right.
That's awesome.
But no, I think that comes down to his leadership in the locker room. I don't think enough in-state players are being recruited. Even your like 3 and 2 stars. Like some of those guys might not play, but they have the passion of being in the state of Arkansas and being a Razorback. Yeah. And that, you know, blood boiling passion transcends the locker room. And I mean, think about Sam Pittman's first year. What was the walk-on's name? The linebacker. You know who I'm talking about, I think.
Oh, shoot.
He won the Burles Award or was up in the running for it.
Morgan.
Yeah. Look at how our defense.
Right. It is 9:30 at night.
Exactly. But think about how good our defense was with him as the leader of the defense.
Well, now the defense was good for half a year. If you remember that season at the halfway point, they just shit the bed.
That's true. That's true.
He was great, though. I mean, I agree. He was great. I think that was the same year Catalan was here, and I think he got those years. Just they meld together. But I think that was a year too. Hudson Clark had a pretty sound year as well. There were certainly some guys that stood out, and I agree with that. Overall, that defense, I don't know that you're rarely going to hear me brag on anything Barry Odom did as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I didn't like him. I thought it was a great hire at the time, and I know he was more of an assistant to Pitman being a former head coach, and having that experience and helping Pitman out a little bit, which is great. That's a mindful hire of Pitman. At the same time, the defenses were shit. But anyways, I'm sorry. Go continue.
No, it's your show, man. But no, I think that was I still think that they played with a lot more passion. Like I feel like they were in more games longer than our defenses. They didn't rank very high on like a lot of the stuff like yards allowed and points allowed and stuff like that. But
they found ways. They did.
Yeah.
They found ways defensively. They got stops at times. They got key stops. They did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it looked like they wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Where this year, like I've never that Missouri game honestly broke my heart. Seeing like Landon Jackson just strolling down the sideline, just letting them run to the touchdown. Come on, have some pride. Look like you want to be there. Look like you want to be a Division I football player in an SEC school.
There was no pride, and that is definitely indicative of a 4-8 year unraveling. But it's also like it's on the coaches, man. I mean, you've got to find ways. I mean, I'll tell you this much: I know Houston Nutt had some bad years. But those dudes played through the whistle. They played all 4 quarters. Yeah, there was some shit play, but I don't think you would have seen anything like what we saw against Missouri. Yeah. I don't think that would have ever have happened.
Like, I mean, I remember being in high school, and I played for Malvern, and like way back in the day when Coach Hart was there, and we sucked. We were a horrible football team, bad, but we did not walk on the football field.
Yeah,
that wasn't going to happen. We're running bleachers the next day, all day long, if we do. Yeah. And I guess NIL, it's a different world than it was, a couple years ago. But still, like, you've got to be a coach. You got to have the players need to fear you a little bit. Like, yeah, if you're not going to play, then our 4 strings going to go out there and play. Next man up mentality.
Yeah.
But I'll end on one thing, though. My prediction for next year, and it's not a good one.
Uh-oh.
At best, I think our ceiling is 6-6.
Okay, well, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought you were going to slap me with a 3-win season or something like.
Now that's a ceiling prediction, though. That's not.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So okay, now I appreciate that. I've learned to just stay away from that. My God, I was so wrong in coming out of fall camp when I had them at 9-3. I mean, it happens. This new era of college football, on top of what's going on at Arkansas, has made it damn near impossible to know what to expect. So I don't even know if I'm going to put out a prediction next year at all. I don't know.
It's a weird world. It reminds me of like Premier League soccer. Like people they have the transfer opening, the transfer window, and they just get the players they want, and whoever gets the best players.
Now, don't they too do something over there where, like, if you're really bad, you drop down to another division or something strange?
Yeah. If you're in the bottom like 4 or 3, you'll drop down to Champions League, I think is what it's called, or Champions League, something like that. And then if you're in the top like 1, you'll move up to Premier League or the top 2.
Yeah, you move up to the Premier. Okay. Yeah, I definitely watched. What's that show with the SNL? Oh, damn it. The dude from SNL that goes and coaches soccer. He goes.
Ted something.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I picked that up because I don't know anything about soccer. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Don't get triggered at me. All right. I know there's some soccer people. Don't get triggered. Anyways, I appreciate your call, Donovan. Thank you, man. It was a good call. Good conversation.
Yeah, you have a good one. I enjoyed the show.
Thank you. Brian Frazier's up next. Brian, are you there? Did we lose Brian? He's on the John.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I thought you just flushed the toilet. What's going on? What's going on, man?
You're wrong for that, man. I had to call in, man, because you You called me out in the comments, man.
I
was
did.
just kind of frustrated with listening to the Bobby bash. He's here, man. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing we can do about it. He's hired. Everybody might as well get comfy with him for at least the next season. You know, so that's why I was kind of, commenting in the comment section.
I
And
wasn't
some people
coming
tend
for
to-
you. I wasn't.
Not you. No. I'm just saying because I was listening to Nick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it just seemed like he was just going on and on about Bobby. He's really upset about Bobby coming back. And I can understand some people's reservations with the whole thing. But at the end of the day, the man is here. He's not going nowhere for at least a year. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we might as well, tuck in and get settled. Another thing is too, somebody put in the comments, Sam, good cop, Bobby, bad cop. I can see it. Because Sam seems like he's too nice of a guy to constantly keep his foot off in the players behind. Like, when have you seen him just like, and you said you seen it maybe once or twice at practice. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bobby gonna keep his foot in they behind all the time. Reason being, his offense needs precision. He don't have time for people to be lollygagging or missing an assignment and stuff like that. He don't play that. He didn't play that when he was here the last time. You know what I mean? Some people may not like his coaching style. I wouldn't say I agree with all the different ways he might have talked to some of the guys on this crew. And I don't think Sam would be going for that either. But at the same time, I still feel like he could be aggressive and assertive with all the extra nonsense that he had before. You know what I mean?
I hear
So,
you. I don't know though, and I, you're my guy, Brian.
Right.
I don't know that we're gonna get that Petrino though that kicks down the door and he's like, all right, you sons of bitches, we're gonna do things my way or the highway. You know what I mean? I don't know that we're gonna get that Petrino.
You think he's kind of softened up in his old age?
Mean, Nick had a point. He is 61 years old, and I think that's fair. I mean, he is.
Yeah.
But as long as he gets good results, I don't think anybody will care. Right?
But I came in mid-conversation, too. That's why I was trying to catch up, because I just came in on the Bobby bashing section. I didn't hear the 61-year-old, which is true. He's 61 years old. And with time, even at 40, I'm not as vigorous as I used to be. You know what I mean? But the bite is still there. You see what I'm saying?
I think it is. I think with age, listen, I'm 40. I mean, I'm wild. I mean, I'm still kind of wild here. I get all animated and whatnot, but I am still nowhere near
tipsy tie, brother.
Oh man, here we go with that. That happened one time. One time that happened in Discord.
Bro, you woke up in the kitty litter box.
I don't even know. I crashed that night. I think I fell asleep.
But look, I get what you're saying with that. You're absolutely right. He might be a little mellow. This whole thing is up in the air, and I can understand everybody's emotions is up and down. I'm just like this. Wait till the last portal call, and then just go from there. Otherwise, we're gonna be riding this roller coaster like we've been riding for all these years, and we just don't want it to end in heartbreak. So I'm just like, everybody just have a seat until after the last portal call. And then we'll see what we're working with. Then we can make a better assessment as to what the season might look like. Then, depending on when you guys go during spring camp, y'all can see things a little bit better. Come back and give us some feedback. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Other than that, right now it's just banter. That's all it is. It's just banter at this point.
Yep. You're right.
But all right, I'm gonna hop off here, man. I told you I'm on the clock. You know what I do for a living.
I do.
Don't tell nobody.
I won't say that. I appreciate you, man.
All right, brother.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, there's something to be said. Logan says here, Bobby Petrino almost beat us with Missouri State. Wasn't last year, it was the year before last, but yeah, he did. And all I'm saying is, I don't know that we're going to get the same Spitfire, angry Bobby Petrino. You remember the same one that we're going to put that up there. So we got our sponsors. So we get our sponsors on screen there. I don't know that we're going to get that same Petrino. That, and he's in an offensive coordinator role, right? You know, he's not the head coach. He's not the guy. Someone was asking about how to call in. That link is provided for you. Let's see. Danny says, I got to believe Paul Sr. He seems sincere to a fault. Losing his son is a huge loss for us, says Danny Burns. I need to go back and watch that over on Woo Pig Pod. I've been on there before once. I need to go drop by and say hello to those guys again. I would love to have sat in that conversation with Pooh Paul's dad. He's also more than welcome to come on here. Any of the former player parents. It's a little different when you get current player. Like, then you got to go. There's some rules, right? There's SID. There's University of Arkansas stuff. Listen, I want to be able to go to spring practice. That's all I want to say. I want to be able to attend spring practice with the media, so I got to play by their rules. I remember when Bobby Petrino would get to screaming on the sideline and his face would turn as red as his hat. That's when they feared us. He put the fear of God in the officials, in his own players, in the opposing players, in the opposing sidelines. I mean, they were terrified of that man. You know, I mean, he was well respected because he could back it up. It wasn't the screaming and yelling and flipping people off or whatever. It was absolutely what he could back up everything he was doing. And the angrier he got, it seemed to get, well, you could expect it on the field. You could if not in that game, then the next season against that same opponent. Not that he had a whole lot of time to reciprocate. As OC, Petrino won't be required to deal with the admin off-field personnel. Yep. Nope. You're right, Mark. I appreciate that. You're absolutely right. Hey, why don't you guys consider doing what that little thing at the bottom of the screen is asking you to do? By the way, the ribbon is going in the right direction, not the wrong direction, like I have it on OBS. I do that on purpose. I have no control over this one on mine. If you're going to correct me, if you're going to tell me, Ty, your bottom ticker is going in the wrong direction, it's going to keep going in the wrong direction because I don't care. Now I'm just going to do it because I'm defiant. I am an individualist. I don't give a shit how everyone else does it. The more pissed he got, the better we played, says Wild. Yeah. It was certainly it was good for Arkansas, the matter he got, that's for sure. Hot take, Bobby will thrive because he will have the reins without the media pressure. Let me close out with this. All right. I don't think anyone else is going to call in. I'll put that link out there again, but we're going to have to start wrapping this thing up. We're coming up on 2 hours. I think this is the longest call-in show I've ever done. I think there's a point to what every single caller made tonight. I do agree. You know, Nick said earlier that all it took was for the U of A to hire Petrino, and now the stadium is going to do better than it would have done had they not hired Petrino. I think he's right. That is you could disagree with all the other takes tonight by everybody, including me. He's not wrong. And I said that, you know, you're going to have a lot more people for this scrimmage. Maybe not, but I think so. With the excitement of Green at quarterback and with Bobby Petrino calling the plays. And I also agree that Green, it's not guaranteed that he's going to be your starter, but you're going to get the Petrino offense. That's all it took. It was definitely a PR move. It was 110% a PR move. It was. I've said that everywhere, here on Mark Rogers' show, anywhere I've been. It was a PR move, but it may be one that works out on the field. I also agree that you're probably not going to get the 2010, 2011 offense that you got, you know, in 2010 and 2011. You probably aren't going to get that. Maybe you will. Maybe Green and Petrino are a match made in heaven. Maybe I'm wrong about these transfer receivers, which I could be. Hell, I'm wrong about them the first time because I said Arkansas is going to win 8 or 9 games because of how exciting those guys were in practice. We didn't get that on the field. That practice, that spring and fall camp did not transpire on the field. God only knows what happens next year. And we're gonna try to keep up throughout the rest of the offseason, try to get an idea. You guys know, as long as I'm able, I'm gonna go to practice. And even if I'm not at practice, it wouldn't really matter, because then we're just going to read what other folks are saying who were there, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to see the highlights uploaded on YouTube and everywhere else. We're going to discuss. That's my job, and I know you guys are still interested, and that's what's great about this. However, what matters most is that Arkansas puts a to even say better product isn't even a far superior product on the field next year. Then it'll all come together. And again, Brian was right. Like, there's a lot of folks who are still mad about Petrino, about the stuff that happened over 10 years ago. Folks still mad about it, or folks just not bought in, and so be it. And listen, they have a point too. It's not like he was an upward trend kind of hire. I think Logan asked in chat, I'd have to pull up something about Bobby being a not an upwards trajectory hire, and I think that's probably pretty close. That's pretty accurate. He did go to A&M. Bobby was hired at A&M, but it's not like everyone in the world they weren't fighting each other off. All these other jobs, these other schools that had vacant OC jobs, it's not like they were all beating the shit out of each other and outbidding each other to go get Petrino. I'm not saying it's a bad hire. I think everyone knows he brings quality on the offensive side of the ball. But we need to see it. And I hope a guy that he recruited out of high school, by the way, and I do think it'll probably end up being Green as QB1. I think that's more than likely going to be the case. Nothing's guaranteed. So again, I thought there's some good points made. I think all the calls they had one or two really good points, at least, some of them more. But right now, and the whole one of the titles, or the title of this video was, Hogs lose commit. They lost the athlete. Transfer portal so far for Arkansas has been, and I meant to put a question mark in there, but didn't do it. But I'll have to go back and fix that. But the optics of the situation right now are not great. And you need fan buy-in. You need player buy-in. You need to be able to go on the recruiting trail, especially if Pitman's telling these 2025 prospects, like, look, I'm going to be here next year. Would certainly help if you could close out with a really strong high school recruiting class, and if you could just knock it out of the park, out of the transfer portal. And I'll say this one more time for anybody who missed it. The reason why I'm not buying the we don't have the money talk, Arkansas has finished in the top 12, top 14 in the transfer portal rankings for back-to-back years. That doesn't scream to me, especially a school like Arkansas, right, where you've had one really good year in the last decade. That doesn't scream to me a team that's really hurting on the NIL front. That doesn't scream to me that they're having all these issues with money. If you could do that back-to-back years, what's the common denominator this year? What's the thing that we all know, we all agree, it's 10 wins in 2 years. It's that if there was any negative recruiting going on in 2022, 2023, they were right if they were telling players, like, look, they're going to be horrible in 2023. They're right. Someone brought up, look at how many close losses Arkansas had. Great. Moral victories are awesome, I guess. But that only goes so far. That doesn't sell players. And then the other thing, too, is obviously NIL deals matter, but also, can you get me to the pros? Can you elevate my game? Can you help develop me along the way? Hopefully they stick around long enough to be developed. That's a whole different conversation. But I'm not buying that this is all on NIL. This is absolutely about the optics of the program. So is it time to panic? I would say no, not yet. When is the proper time to panic is probably the better question. Maybe out of spring camp, if they look horrible throughout spring camp and red-white scrimmage it's really bad, maybe then you panic. I guess I'm not someone who panics very often. Maybe you panic midway through the season. Maybe that's the proper way to panic, or the proper time to panic when you've won one conference game and you've got 2 wins under your belt overall. Maybe that's the time to panic. I don't know. But if there ever was a time to panic, this is certainly the closest you've been in an offseason under Pitman since he's been here. 110%. If this is the closest you've ever been. So maybe that's the answer. If not now, then when? And I think this is the closest time ever to panic. This is it. Because you are not doing good in the portal. Outside of, listen, I like Taylor Green. I do. I mentioned the San Jose State transfer, the offensive lineman. And I do think they're gonna grab a couple of guys out of the portal. I feel like they're gonna get a couple that are gonna make us go, oh, finally, okay, right. But then we're gonna have to look back at the body of work and what they did throughout the offseason and then really take a look at that portal and where they end up. You know, it matters. It matters. Grabbing guys that are quality matters. But I will say, when you look at the portal commits, though, it's not like any of these guys are stars where they're coming from. That's the part that has me a little bit concerned. Now, and I'm talking about, like, you know, Keyshawn Blackstock is certainly someone with a lot of potential. Taylor Green had moments where he looked like a star. He looks like he could be the next guy, right? But, you know, Fernando Carmona, I think I'm pronouncing that right, out of San Jose State, grades out wonderfully. If you're a Tuss Talk with Ty Patreon supporter, you have access to that whole screen on the commit page. But you're not grabbing guys that are I should say, you're not grabbing key starters or you know, you're not grabbing a Drew Sanders so far out of the portal. Like, it's not there. Got to give it time. We'll see where they're at. We'll see what's going on come January and February. We'll see where they're at. But at the moment, it's looking pretty bleak. But we got to give it time. But yeah, I'm not seeing anybody that's like a star from another program or a guy that you didn't really expect to hit the portal out of Alabama or out of LSU who's in the portal, and Arkansas has been able to go in and sweep that guy. Look at Georgia. Look at all the guys that have transferred out of Georgia. Arkansas, I mean, they might grab one of those guys, but or two of them, but what role did they have in 2023? Got a long ways to go. We'll see what they do. I do appreciate you guys. We're doing as well in the portal as we do in recruiting. They certainly are this year so far. Again, they had 2 top 15, top 14 classes. They're just not selling me on the we have no money front. That's just, I think it really is. Players are probably, the negative recruiting is there, and we're seeing it. I think, we're seeing it as much as we can anyways. The negative recruiting is taking effect. It's not that hard to tell a player, are you sure you want to go to a place where the coach could get fired before week 6? And this is why bringing Pitman back for a 5th year, you're climbing that's a tall building. They should be pulling out all stops to make next season a success. Maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe they are. All right, we're going to end this thing right here. Oh, here we go. Oh, I love this one. Logan, I love this one. Do you think players are really that dumb? Like, you come through here a lot, and you've got some good takes. This is not one of them. This is not one of them. Blaming the media for reporting on what they're seeing, blaming Biddy, blaming, I don't know, Mike Irwin, blaming anyone in the media out of the established media. Come on now. These players aren't dumb. They don't, by the way, I don't think a lot of them really pay much attention to all the negativity that's out there. NIL and having a set of eyeballs is what is probably having an impact. Not Trey Biddy, not me, not Mike Irwin, not any other random Razorback YouTube channel that has any kind of a following. No, these players are not dumb. They know what's happening. By the way, they're usually friends with players that are on all these teams, or they have family members or friends. They're talking, they're texting, they're on Instagram talking about the transfer portal. They're not dumb. They don't. Trey Biddy, I guarantee you, or anyone that works at Rivals or 247. You know, I'm not saying none of them. I'm sure maybe there is some overlap there. Maybe there are some players that hear what I've had to say. Listen, I know that there are players' families. There's coaches' family members that have watched this show. but they're not dumb. If they're not getting it here, they're getting it on anywhere else. And not only that, they've got a set of eyeballs. So I disagree with this one, Logan. I disagree. It's not rocket science. We need to buy this next season. Yeah. This is your fault, Ty. Who are you going to get? That's what it is, right? That's what the player, they heard me say that. They're like, oh, see, this guy over here, or Trey Biddy on his walk and talk, he was angry, so now these players aren't going to come here. It's not that bad. I bet we go at least 6-6 next year, which will be enough. Yeah. All right. That's it. We're over 2 hours. It's coming up on my bedtime. Goodness, it's almost 10 o'clock at night. I appreciate you guys. Listen, a lot of stuff said that folks agree and disagree with. Some callers you may agree or disagree with. Just know that we all want what's best for the University of Arkansas. Some folks are just frustrated. They're tired of what they're seeing. There's truth to the point that Arkansas has struggled, especially the last 10 years since being in the SEC. But you got to feel like hopefully they can fix this thing. They've dug themselves into a really deep hole, and they're having to figure out how the hell do we get out of here. We all want what's best for the University of Arkansas, for the football and basketball. My God, we haven't even talked basketball. I think Pitman, I got something from the university a little while ago. I believe Pitman is going to talk. Here it is. Head coach Sam Pitman will be available Wednesday afternoon at 2 p.m. inside the media room. So I will be in on that Zoom call, and we're going to do a show after sometime in the afternoon after this. Thank God it's on Wednesday. That works out perfect. That'll be our show on Wednesday. So we'll talk about, of course, it's about he's going to discuss the Razorbacks signing class and the hiring of offensive line coach Eric Matios. Coach Matios will be available after Coach Pitman. So we're going to hear from both of them. So, yeah, I will be back on Wednesday. I appreciate you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Shout out again to the sponsors that sponsor Tuss Talk with Ty. Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. They operate out of Central Arkansas and in Northwest Arkansas. Hundreds of 5-star reviews. They offer same-day services, quality parts, and affordable outcomes. Give them a call. They're offering 10% off any garage door repair. And, of course, a shout-out to our other sponsor, the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzaria, located on Emma Street right here in Springdale, Arkansas. Great pies. I gotta lay off the Odd Soul pizza. I've once again, for the second time in like a week and a half, I've had Odd Soul. I had the Supreme. No sausage for me. I'm not a sausage guy. But I had the Supreme pizza. Oh, my God. It was so good. My kids had the cheese pizza. It's so good. Yes, I snuck a couple of slices because, of course, I did. I'm their dad. There's such a thing as daddy tax. And in this house, daddy tax is strict. So definitely stole a couple slices of their Odd Soul cheese pizza. Fantastic environment. Great staff. Friendly staff. Give them a try if you've never been there. The Odd Soul Craft Bar Pizzeria, located on Emma Street. Okay, I will see you guys on Wednesday. Until then, you guys have a good Tuesday and get some sleep. I'll see you guys then.